So I've been noticing that the job market is really fucked up a lot more than I initially thought it was. You know what I mean? I myself currently do have a job. Bless the Lord. I've been there going on a year now. But it wasn't like it used to be, man. It's a lot worse than it used to be. And when I say it, I mean maybe even like 5 years ago during COVID. So I remember a time I would say going on. I'm about to age myself here, but maybe even 10 years ago. I will go as far as 10 years ago. It was incredibly easy to find a job. There were no shortages of jobs, and when I mean jobs, I mean those old dead end warehouse jobs that nobody wanted, but they were there. Especially the jobs that were night shift that paid pretty good money. If I do say so myself, they paid anywhere from 19 to 21, $22. I found one as high as 23
Iron Man,
an hour plus overtime because nobody wanted to work at night. Now
Captain
anybody would take
Marvel,
that in a heartbeat, but those things are not available. I look on Indeed looking for jobs, and the majority of the jobs either don't pay well or pay decent, but want you to have a bachelor's degree. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like a bachelor's degree for $20 an hour is insane. I just feel like that's not enough. The minimum should be 25. If you're asking for a bachelor's degree, I need to see $25 on that application at the very minimum. Honestly, I would even argue 30 if you have experience. If you're 25, you have a bachelor's degree and you have no experience, okay, 25 maybe. But to say that it should be anything less than it is it's kind of insulting, right? Because that's $48,000 a year with a bachelor's degree starting out if you were to get a job and you had no like experience, right? So that's $25 an hour. You're working 40, just basic. That's not even 50K. That's 48, and then you're gonna get taxed. So really, I think it should be 30 if you have a bachelor's degree and maybe a little bit of experience in the field. A little bit, or you got an internship, something that kind of supplements that, right? That's about 50. That's around 60K. That's $57,000 a year. I think 60K should be 50, between 50 and 60 should be the starting pay for someone with a bachelor's. If you have some kind of experience, a bachelor's plus a year or two, right? 60K should be the limit, the starting pay. Anything less than that, asking a bachelor's degree when you're paying 1850 and 1950 is unacceptable. But when you go to Indeed, it's like that's most of what you see, dude. The majority of jobs want you to have a bachelor's degree and your entire lifespan of experience. It's like, you know, who has that? You know what I mean? Who really has that? And the fucked up part is about it. Back when I was like in the market, even years ago, like I said, 10 years ago, it was much easier to find a job. I didn't have job anxiety that I see people have now. I just didn't, have that. You know what I mean?
Captain Marvel,
It was pretty. I never went without a job for longer than a month. The longest of my life I ever went without working was when I intentionally quit a government job I had that I held for 6 years because I got tired of job hopping. I didn't work for 2 years, but I saved. I had a considerable amount of money saved. This was a little bit after COVID. It was actually during COVID when we was getting the COVID checks on top of the money I saved, so which was kind of interesting. But um, yeah, if I didn't set myself up like that, I wouldn't have been able to do something like that. And then it's kind of calls back to the fact that it's I'm at the age now where I can see a change. I remember a time where getting a job was not hard. It was about what type of job did you want. Now it's about, do you have a job? If you have a job, don't like quit. You know what I mean? I would say 5 years ago there was like hundreds of videos on YouTube just kind of telling people to quit their job and go start a YouTube channel. Oh, just quit your job, like a fad. Because YouTube has this phase where it'll be like a bunch of YouTubers telling you to do shit because they did it, and they're leaving out the part that they had 150 to 200K in savings, or they're leaving the part out that they have a partner that makes a good amount of money, and they're the one that has the channel. They don't have to depend on their partner. They're leaving out that they already had that their channel blew up overnight or just got lucky or they had a niche. They don't really talk about that things. All they say is just quit your channel and start a YouTube channel. It's not that simple. It's not easy at all because you're at competition with millions of people that want to start a channel and want to make a living off of it. Just doing content, whatever that content may be. I have a niche because I have a skill that I've, you know, learned over the course of my life and years, through art. Really, right now, it's really just art. I think I kind of dropped CS. I was going to school for computer science, but my passion wasn't in it, and I could kind of tell. And I didn't want to pay and be in debt for something I didn't truly love, so I dropped out. What, a year and a half, 2 years in, which is part of me feels like I should just finish it just for myself personally, so that I can, have those skills. I may not care to work in the field of software engineering, but I could always have that little skill. Like once I know that, you can't take that away from me. I can make scripts and do stuff like that. So I think I'll get back into it. I think I'll go ahead and finish the degree just so I can personally have it. But outside of that, man, you know, gone are the days of being the regular Amazon worker or the McDonald's worker and not having to compete for a job, because you have people with 15, 20 years experience competing for jobs for entry level. You know what I mean? So I didn't think I would see this. I didn't know how bad it would get, but I didn't know it would be like this. It's insane. And it's really like, it's crazy that, you see people out here fighting for the bare minimum, and it's now an employer's market. They're underpaying you, and you can't. What are you gonna say? You're gonna quit and get a job where, doing what? You know what I mean? And heaven forbid you have a remote job. That's even more like a unicorn. So it's a lot different than what I remember. It's a reality shock to me of like how unsafe we are. Like if I lose my job, like the amount of stress will probably engulf me would be insane. So I want to start building up my nest egg and just having the money to buffer, because I don't want to have to stress over something like that. It's just not healthy. And that's why, I have my channels. I want to build something on the side that's my own, that is a direct correlation of my own work. If I work harder, I get more out of it. I like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be clocking in for somebody and they just get rid of me because we didn't meet a quarterly earning. You know what I mean? But for a lot of people, that's their reality, and it's kind of scary. Like you think about it, that could kind of raise desperation, and it makes them act a certain way if they could just get fired. Because some people, contrary to what they believe, they are just a number to this company. Like if you could do the job, someone else could do it, and probably for less pay than you, because of how desperate it is. And that amount of stress and anxiety can affect your work that you are doing. You're at the office, you're doing shit, you clocked in, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, shit. I mean, I don't know, man. Carl, you've been coming to work on time. You've been picking up the extra boxes, but I feel like you could be packing more. I feel like you could do more. You know what I mean? And they'll talk to you like that in that condescending tone, and that could that could fill you with some fucking anxiety. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's really unnerving, and I'm starting to feel it. At first, I knew it was there, but now it's like I feel the energy, I feel the desperation. There's more people ever now that are door dashing. Like I got pushed right out the market. I used to DoorDash, and Uber Eats. I did it consistently for 2 years. I did it while I was in college. Like this was years ago. Damn, I'm really aging myself. This was a long time ago when I was getting my associate's degree for telecommunications. I wanted to be a cable man. Uh, I should have probably pursued that. It was a trade somewhat, so I would have been pulling wires. But I did learn about fiber optics and cabling systems and stuff like that, and how to splice wires and whatnot, and how transistors and stuff work. But I ended up not wanting to go into that field, right? I was trying to get a job, and I don't even remember the job I got right after that. I forgot. I got a job while I was in the class right before I graduated. I should have got the diploma. I don't know why I didn't, but I was going to school for it. It was I had to bike to school back. It was fun. I met some pretty cool people in there. I remember that's the first time I had my GameSir controller. It was fun. I enjoyed my life back then. I enjoy it now, but I'm not one of those people that feel like I had a bad, you know, young life. I'm grateful for everything. I had an amazing amount of adventures, and I want to create more adventures. But this video is going to end up being about something else. But I'm really talking about jobs and how the job market was so different back then. And you don't even have to go back to 20 or 30 years. Just take it back 5 to 10 years. It was insane. Things were just different. You know what I mean? Wasn't hard to find a job. I hope it gets back to that. where there are jobs in plentiful. I don't know when or how that's going to happen because the last time I checked, there's like 7 million jobs available. And in what area, like how many people are on the planet. So you would break that down, cut it down to the country, and you cut it down to the state and how many jobs are available in that state versus how many people are in that state. And then that's your figure. That's how much you have. But yeah, I was just really thinking about this. It's late. I should probably go to sleep, but I just wanted to cut my mic on a little bit and talk about, what I've been noticing and how it's been affecting people. But yeah, that's all for this one. See you guys.